Imagine waking up at dawn, not to an alarm clock, but to the sound of the sea, the gentle hum of a nearby village. This is the world of Jesus, a simple life, yet full of profound meaning. To understand a day in his life: morning, the quiet time. And rising very early in the morning while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. Mark 1 verse 35. The first thing Jesus often did was to retreat in prayer. Picture this as starting your day with a quiet moment, sipping coffee, or meditating before the chaos of the world begins. For Jesus, this time was essential. It was his chance to recharge, to align his will with God's. Much like an athlete preparing for a big game, Jesus needed that stillness before facing the demands of his mission. In our lives, we might not face a crowd waiting to be healed, but the demands of work, family, and life are our own challenges. Jesus shows us that no matter how busy or stressful the day ahead looks, carving out time for reflection and connection with God brings peace. Midday, teaching and healing. When Jesus saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Matthew 9 verse 36. After his quiet time, Jesus would head into towns, surrounded by people seeking healing, wisdom, and hope. He taught parables, which are stories with deeper meanings, like the parable of the Good Samaritan. Think of it like a teacher using simple, real-life examples to explain complex lessons. Jesus wasn't just talking. He was engaging with those around him, connecting their experiences to spiritual truths. His healings were like visible acts of love, moments that touched hearts. These acts could be compared to a doctor curing a disease or a friend helping another in a time of crisis. The lesson? Compassion and action go hand in hand. Afternoon, time with disciples. Come, follow me, and I will send you out to fish for people. Matthew 4 verse 19. Jesus spent much of his time with his disciples, training and teaching them for their future roles. Imagine being an apprentice learning from a master, like a blacksmith passing down his trade to the next generation. Jesus didn't just teach them theology, he showed them how to live. He modeled patience, service, humility, and love. These moments might be like sitting with a mentor or friend who guides you, teaching you life lessons beyond just facts. Jesus' relationship with his disciples teaches us about community and growth through shared experiences. Evening, rest and reflection. The Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Matthew 8 verse 20. At the end of the day, Jesus often found rest in humble places, like a boat or a hillside. His life wasn't about luxury or comfort, it was focused on his mission. For us, this speaks to finding contentment in simplicity and purpose, rather than material wealth. In our modern lives, it could be like coming home to a cozy place after a long day, reflecting on what matters, not the things we own, but the love we give and receive. Evening contemplation, sowing seeds of hope. At times, the evening wasn't always restful for Jesus. He spent some of his nights praying, particularly during moments of deep spiritual burden. Picture a gardener who, even after a long day, tends to his garden in the cool of the evening, making sure that each plant has what it needs to thrive. This is how Jesus approached his mission. His work wasn't finished just because the sun had set. Take, for example, the night before his crucifixion when he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus knew the weight of what lay ahead, yet he still surrendered, praying, "Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22 verse 42. This moment of deep vulnerability is something we can all relate to. Whether we are facing a major decision, a personal crisis, or just the struggles of everyday life, Jesus shows us that we can pour out our hearts to God, trusting in his greater plan. It's like having that one last important conversation with a loved one before bed, or spending time journaling, reflecting on your thoughts, and preparing mentally for what's to come. The rhythm of service. Jesus' daily rhythm was always about others. Even when he was interrupted, like the time a woman touched the hem of his garment in a crowd, seeking healing, Mark 5 verses 25 to 34, he stopped and responded to her with compassion. It's like being in the middle of a busy day, running from meeting to meeting, but still finding time to listen when someone needs help. For Jesus, each interruption was an opportunity for grace, much like how a teacher might pause in the middle of class to tend to a struggling student. This rhythm teaches us something powerful. Serving others is not about being perfect or having everything in order. It's about being present, about recognizing that each moment holds potential for kindness. Night, ending with grace. Finally, as night fell, Jesus' day would often close with his disciples, discussing the events of the day or teaching them further. Imagine gathering with friends after a long day, reflecting on the challenges and victories you've shared. This was Jesus' time to build deeper relationships with those closest to him, offering encouragement and wisdom for the days ahead. My peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. John 14 verse 27. His peace was not based on circumstances but came from a deep, unshakable trust in God. Even in the face of danger or betrayal, Jesus carried an inner calm. In our lives, this could be like finding a sense of peace at the end of a hectic day, not because everything went perfectly but because we trust in something greater.